Well, we're just 2 days after the full rollout of the controversial electronic transactions levy. Some persons who have made transactions are complaining about varied deductions and unauthorized charges. Some of them who took to social media to vent their frustration say they were charged for transfers less than the 100 cedis threshold. We'll obviously be reading some of the comments that are, of course, flooding social media. But first, let's hear from Kofi Ajay, who's with our research desk, joining us, and he's been testing the system and breaking it all down for us to understand what the dynamics is with regard to the E-Levy. We'll also be hearing from the Ghana Revenue Authority on this. But Kofi, first of all, what did you find out when you put the system to a test?
So yesterday, around 6 o'clock a.m., I decided to send an amount of 450 cedis to a friend to test the system, actually. And so before the inception of the electronic transaction levy, you should know that if you send somewhere around 450 cedis, you'll be charged a service charge of 4 cedis, 50 pesos. And this time around, I realized that the charge was more than the 4 cedis, 50 pesos. And then looking at my receipt, I saw that there was an additional charge of 3 cedis, 38 pesos, which was termed as tax. And that was the E-Levy, And so I also realized that the system did not charge the volume of transaction that I said, that's the 450 cedis. It only charged the value added, meaning that it took into consideration the 100 cedis as the threshold. And so I was only the E-Levy was only applicable to the 350 cedis addition. And then somewhere in the evening, I went to see my mom, and then she asked me to send an amount of 51 cedis to a colleague. And I also wanted to still check to know if she'll be charged the levy. So upon sending the 51 cedis, I realized that this time around, the fee was 0, that's 0. And then the tax amount was also 0. It means she wasn't charged either the service charge or the E-Levy. And that was her first transaction in the day, actually. And somewhere also, that's around yesterday, I wanted to still check the system. So I visited one popular, shopping mall on the Spintex Road. And then I shopped for items worth 313 cedis. And then I went to the counter and I told them I wanted to pay via Momo because I wanted to really test how the system was working in the shopping mall as well. And this time around, I realized, the service charge was, usually was 1%. But this time around, I was charged the two cedis 35 pesos, meaning that the service charge had been reduced from 1% to 0.75. And then boom, I saw what I didn't want to see, the tax component, which is the E-Levy. I was charged 4 cedis 70 pesos. So in total, I was charged more than 7 cedis for transferring an amount of 313 cedis to the shopping mall's account. And then this morning, Blessed, I was still curious. I wanted to know if maybe because yesterday that wasn't my first transaction. So this morning I decided not to do any transaction. And my first transaction is going to be in another supermarket. So I went to a nearby supermarket and shopped for items worth 154 cedis, 97 pesos. And I told them I wanted to pay via Momo as well. And to my surprise, this time around, I wasn't charged there was no fee charge, and then there was no tax component. So I was still curious. I checked my balance and I realized I did the, additions, and I realized that I wasn't charged the E-Levy.
Is that to suggest that the charge is just applicable to what happens beyond the 100 cedis threshold for the very first time? Is that the explanation to that?
All right, so I was expecting that for the very first, and that was my first transaction of the day. It was above 100 cedis, and I was expecting the E-Levy to be applied on the 54 cedis, 97 pesos. But I walked away without being charged, I don't know if that because that was my first transaction
Right.
in the day. But yesterday it was different when I sent the 400 CDs, 455 CDs. I was duly charged the additional value that I added to the 100 CDs threshold.
Well, Kofi, we'll still be monitoring the platform, but I'm grateful for the update you've given us and how you've put the system to a test. In fact, some Ghanaians have also been reacting to this on social media, where, of course, many of you there have been raising your concerns since the E-Levy took effect, but we'll be reading the comments to you very shortly. Let's also hear from the Ghana Revenue Authority, find out what they're doing to address this. We'll get that for you shortly, but first let's head to social media, get some of the comments that many of you are sharing there, and then we'll try as much as possible to break the issues down and try and get some responses from the Ghana Revenue Authority. So this one is from Yaira Koku. Yaira Koku says, please give me one reason why I should contribute to someone's useless childhood ambition of living like an Arabian king using the taxpayers' money to rent a private jet. So obviously that's a concern about how a government would put this tax to a good use or otherwise. Then there is Samuel Asante Nru. He says that stop the propaganda and pay your E-Levy. You want good roads, hospitals, free SHS, nursing training allowances. You also want interchanges and more, but you don't want to pay taxes. Ghana is not the private company. It's not actually a private company. It belongs to all of us. And there are more of you sharing your comments with us. This one says that I was sending Momo from my own MTN SIM to another MTN SIM, which is used by my wife, all registered in my name. I was charged the E-Levy as well. So that's one of the experience that someone is also sharing on social media. Then we also have this coming through from a number of you who are posting below the comments that we put up on Facebook. This one says that I was charged 2.5 cedis for sending 100 cedis from an MTN number to a Vodafone number, clueless government. And then PHK also comes through. We have Thomas T. He says that it's a pickpocketing tax, which is being used as a collateral for loans for family and friends consumption, and then luxury. I've emptied and closed down my Momo account. So these are some of the reactions that we're getting on social media. We'll be getting back to all of the comments that most of you are sharing with us on the subject matter, but let's hear from the Ghana Revenue Authority as well and understand what it is they're doing to deal with all of these concerns. So joining us now, let's hear from Patrick Frimpong, Patrick Frimpong Danso is with the Ghana Revenue Authority. He's a member of the technical team for the E-Levy. He is joining us via Zoom to have a conversation on this. Thank you, sir, for your time. So here are some of the concerns that we're receiving. Some persons are transferring using their same or the same SIM cards, but yet they are being charged the E-Levy. I'm sure that you received so many complaints today. How are you resolving all of these issues?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, I want to take that question first. And yesterday, when we started this implementation, the first complaint was the example you just gave me, where somebody's transferring money from, let's say, one EMI to another, saying MTN to Vodafone, they are being charged. Now, the challenge is coming from the EMI. So what we have discussed this issue with them, but fortunately for us, when you do the transaction on the same network, it doesn't charge you when it's less than 100 Ghana cedis. So this problem is coming when you are doing off net. So as I speak to you right now, we are in a meeting. We started the meeting 3 o'clock. We are discussing how they're going to solve this problem. So that one being addressed, and it's happening to those who are doing the off nets, and it's only one of the EMI. All the others are working perfectly. We don't have any problem. I must also say that if you have been charged wrongfully for any tax, once we get back and resolve the issue, that tax will be refunded back into your wallet or your account.
I guess that was provided for in the guideline that you issued earlier, but there's no clarity on whether or not there are clear procedures for the refund and how soon anyone who's been wrongfully deducted will be rebated?
Yeah, first, we need to solve the problem first. What is creating the unlawful charges? So we need to solve that one first. So once that one is solved, then it's data. The data is residing with the charging entity. We can pick the data. All transactions that were below 100 Ghana cedis and you charge, we have the data. We know the wallet, and then we can do a reversal. So that one can be done. And that will be done automatic. It's not going to be done as if maybe you have to write to GRA before we know. We know that it's a wrongful charge. And therefore, the same system that charges you, we are going to use the same system to reverse all those wrongful charges.
Are you opening up any lines for consumers generally to phone in and raise their concerns so you can address them?
Yes. We have our lines, the free toll number that you can call at any time, 24/7. If I may put it out there, can I put it out there if you are ready?
Yeah, yes, please go ahead with the numbers.
Okay, so we have toll-free number that is 0800 900 110. 0800 900 110. Then we have WhatsApp line 055 290 000. That is 000 050 290 0000. So this is also a WhatsApp line that you can complain to us if you have any challenge. Now, what we are going to do is that after we have solved the problem of this wrongful charges that is coming from only one charging entity, we will pick the data and then we'll reverse all those wrongful charges back to their wallet or their account.
And we're also learning that some transfers with the same ownership, we're having deductions on that. Have you received complaints such as that? Those?
Yes, it's true. Because if you look at the approach that we are going, we are looking at per wallet. Now, with the per wallet, we are not able to identify the same person using the Ghana card. So, for example, I have, let's say, Airtel Tigo and then Vodafone Cash. They belong to me. I have not done the SIM card registration, or I've done with the Vodafone. I've not done with the Ghana card. I've not done with the Airtel Tigo. Now, GRA is building. We have a common platform which is the ultimate. As we are starting that one in 1st July. That one, anytime I make a transfer, the system will come to that common platform to find my identity. If I'm the same person, it will now inform the charging entity that this transaction, the chargeable income is 0. And therefore, if you take 0 and you multiply it by 1.5%, the answer will be 0. But because we don't have that one right now in place, they are charging per wallet. Now, if you are able to prove to your charging entity, say, for example, if I do the initiation of the transaction from, let's say, Vodafone Cash, and then I'm sending it to my Tigo wallet, and they charge me. I can go to Vodafone and say that Vodafone, myself, I'm the same person having the Tigo. If I'm able to prove it, there's going to be a refund for you once you prove that you are the same person. The same applies to those who are also transferring money from their bank account onto their wallet. If they're able to prove to the bank that they are the same person for the wallet and the same account belongs to them, we are able to do that reversal of the taxes.
So until that interface is ready, are you suggesting that there's no remedial measures, nothing to do about it for now?
To identify same person, we don't have the common platform in place now. As I said, we did it, it's there, it's working. But the challenge we had was that most of the charging entities were not ready to call that API. So if you are not able to call, then we can't say that everybody should be on that board, on that common platform. So that's why we are going phase approach. So what we are doing right now is that because about only 5% were able to call the API because they were able to configure their system to call the API, which is going to be the common platform. If the rest, let's say the 95% cannot do it, we cannot say that some should do it and others should not do it. So that's why we are all saying that we should charge per wallet. But we are putting in place a mechanism where if you're able to prove that you are the same person, then we allow that reversal of the taxes to your wallet.
You're also indicating in your guidelines that you'd be auditing the electronic money issuers at the end of every day. It's day 2 already. Is it too early to ask for how much we've raked for the first day of transaction?
Okay, I thought in our guidelines, what we are asking for is the transfer of the fund into the consolidated, and because we are
Precisely, but
going
you
to
clearly indicated that there was going to be an audit as well.
yes, for audits, because this is our electronic transaction, and electronic transaction, we know that we might have a huge data over millions of transactions, and then there's going to be a way to do it. What we are doing right now is that we are monitoring the ecosystem and seeing the complaints. Not now that you have to start and going to do audit. We have to wait and look at it for some time before when things stabilize, then we can go and then start our auditing. It's data. Once we get the data, we can do the audit, and we have the systems in place to be doing that audit. And as you are aware, a lot of transactions have gone on that are not supposed to be charged. And we need to make sure that we do all these things before we can start a serious audit. So for now, we want to make sure that things stabilize before we can start our audits.
Is that to suggest that we don't know how much we've collected at the end of day one, ever since we started rolling out the E-Levy?
For that one, we are working on it. We are still in touch with our charging entities, and that one will be announced by the Commissioner General himself. He will tell us maybe the day one, how much we got, day two, how much we got. So that one they are still working on. And because we have these hitches, we can't take the figures right now and say we will report on that, because there are a lot of wrongful charges. We might put a figure there, and then later when we reverse it, we can't like, you told us this X amount, now you're coming to tell a different amount. So we need to be very careful before we come out with the figures. Unless when we solve the problem of these wrongful charges, then we do the reversal, then we can come and tell the general public that, oh, day one we got X amount. But for now, there are a lot of wrongful charges as part of the collection, which we cannot say is the right thing we have to do.
It's interesting that you're saying that there are some anomalies with the charges. You're indicating that some of the EMIs are to blame for this. Are you suggesting that some of the telcos as well are not cooperating with the Ghana Revenue Authority in that manner?
No, I don't think that is the issue. The issue is more of their system. And as I said, it's only one of the EMI, that is one of the telcos that are having the challenge. The challenge is only off-net, but the on-net is working perfectly. So it's something to do with how they configure their system. So they are working on that one. So it's not that they are not doing it, they are working on that one. And they promise us that, as I said, we are having a meeting as I speak to you right now with them. They are working around the clock to make sure that latest by tomorrow, that thing should be solved. When that thing is solved, then we need to now look at the data. Those that were charged wrongfully, we have to reverse them. Then we are all will be on one page.
I'm asking because earlier there were reports that the telcos were not willing to give out their systems. In other words, for the pooling, for the pooling to happen, the fact that you need a consolidated platform where you could track same ownership transfers. The concern is because of the lack of cooperation from all of these telcos. That's why we're experiencing some of these challenges.
I will not say that, because for the past 6 weeks, almost every week we have a meeting with all the charging entities. Almost every, and even some of them, they even call the meeting that they want to understand certain things or us to explain to them. As I said, I will speak to you that we even have one this morning. So I'm not sure they are not cooperating. They are all for the E-Levy. They have brought about a lot of suggestions that have helped up to do this implementation. They have come out with some of expertise in their area to also support us the way we are thinking through the guidelines. So I would say that they've been helpful. Other than that, we will not reach where we are now.
Interesting. And how about the banks as well? Bank to mobile money transfers. Are there charges on that as well? Because just as we pointed out to you, it appears that that platform also is experiencing some challenges.
Yes, if you're transferring money, assuming I'm transferring money from my bank account to your wallet, the E-Levy applies. It's only when you are doing that transaction to your own wallet, then the E-Levy doesn't apply. As I said, because the EMI and then the banks, they don't have a common platform that they can identify that is the same person, they might charge. But as I said, once they charge you and you're able to prove to the charging entity that I'm the same person for this wallet and the same bank account belongs to me, then they will reverse it. They will reverse the taxes. So it's something to do with identity. And as I said, because the common platform we are not connected to the common platform for the first phase. That is why we are having that difficulty. And I can tell you that if we are connected to the common platform in July, when we start in July, we will not have these issues coming up again.
All right, then. We'll have to leave it here. I'm grateful that you've been able to spend some time with us. Patrick Frimpong Danso, a technical member of those in charge of the E-Levy.